This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
I had a conversation with somebody a little while ago, and it was about creativity and why we're on this earth. It's kind of a fundamental conversation, a little bit deep, but it's their belief, and I'm on board with it, that we're here to create, learn, and teach. And so many times we'll say, well, I'm not creative, but yes, you are. You just don't realize it, or you have things blocking you from realizing it or accepting it. But when we use our creativity, a lot of times you have expectations. And maybe it doesn't meet the expectations, doesn't mean you weren't creative, doesn't mean it wasn't good. But in your eyes, it's not good because it didn't hit the mark. We're going to talk about that, expectations, and how to get rid of them, how to pilot through that, use our creativity, and learn about ourselves through that creativity. That's what she does as an art therapist. She's certified in that field and brings a lot of wisdom and insight as our professional of the year. Barbara Robertson is back with us. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thanks, Steve. How about you?
Good. And expectations. We have them of other people. We have them of ourselves. And probably not always the best thing for us, right?
Yeah, sometimes our expectations can be so out of sync with what really works that we wind up really kind of undermining the ability that we actually have, because we don't give it a chance to show up under the circumstances that would really free it to just, come to the surface and shine. Instead, we have a sense of what will make what I do acceptable to the wider world. We're often trying to match what we want to create to what we think other people will like or approve of or appreciate in some way. And it's all great when it happens that way, but if you set out with that as your goal, well, for one thing, none of us really are that good at reading minds. So predicting what someone else will like, that can be a little tricky. And then we get misled about what gives something value. And we kind of tend to think in the art world, well, what gives something value is totally confusing. Like, remember those paintings done by that artist, his last name was Pollock, and he would take huge pieces of canvas and then, gallons of paint and just hurl them across this canvas that was spread out on the floor until it was totally covered with splashes of all different colors. And then they would go up on the wall in some gallery and sell for millions of dollars. If that was today, it would probably be billions. And the rest of us were sort of left scratching our heads and thinking, well, I could do that, but nobody would pay me $1 million. So what actually is it that makes art art? And that's where we kind of stumble and get confused.
Since you said that name and connected it to an artist, right away, I remember the name. I can't visualize any of the paintings, but they were very abstract. So, side point here. How do you know that's art? How do you define that as art? Why couldn't a, I don't know, an 11-year-old do the same exact thing?
I think a part of it was the intention with which it was made. First of all, none of the rest of us apparently thought about making art in that way by dumping buckets of paint on a canvas on the floor and then letting it dry and then, taking it down to a gallery and saying, look what I did. How do you like this? And I think to some extent what Jackson Pollock was doing was just feeling something inside him that said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we tried this? And so I think, I've seen images of him at work. You can still find those probably on the internet. They're probably even some videos of him actually in the process. I think you can sort of get that it was very energizing for him to do that. So there was something that was very in sync with his own internal process in doing that. And I think in some ways that's what made his work art, because it was an expression of something that was intrinsic to his nature.
Do you think it's what he put into it, i.e., the energy?
I do think it really does convey that sort of chaotic energy, that sort of all over the place, and almost like an openness to whatever happens. You know, they kind of say that that's what will give a person the most equanimity in going through life, is being able to be okay with whatever is, because it is what's happening. And none of us are in charge of unfolding reality. That is something that happens through means that we have no clue what the mechanism might be, but none of us are in charge of it. And so if we're not going to be thrown off by anything that sort of doesn't match our expectations for what should happen, we really have to be in a mindset that says, okay, well, whatever is happening, that's not up to me, but I get to choose what I do with it or about it.
Sure. Well, we always have a choice, no matter what. Even if we're not happy with the situation, you have a choice of how you're going to react to the situation. I brought up one of his paintings, and I just had to look. I don't know if I can. I don't think I can share the screen. I wish I could real quickly. Well, maybe I can. Let's see what we can do here.
See if you can. See if you can.
Yeah. Hold on one sec, because now I'm. Well, we'll give this one shot here, and do like that, and. Okay. Weirdly, I've never shared a screen on this platform. So others have. Oh, wait, here we go. And there we go. And there we go.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So what are you seeing there?
Well, actually, so far I'm just seeing a black square that says Steve Harper has started screen sharing. So there it is.
well, that's not going to work. As you can tell,
there it is. I can see it now. It's awesome.
You don't really see it though, right?
Oh no, I do. I do really see it. It's small, and I can see your tabs above it.
And that's you know what? That's a. I asked it not to do that. What does this represent for you?
Oh gosh. Excitement, frenzy, fury, delight, just all kinds of things. I'm thinking of a rock concert. I'm thinking of, riding the roller coaster at Riverview in Chicago when I was a kid. Just really, so what I'm picking up on is really high energy that seems to be kind of going in all directions. It's a kind of very free feeling to it. Just everything is going every which way. There are lots and lots of layers. It also kind of has a textile feeling, like weaving. A little bit of crazy weaving, a little bit of wild kind of knitting going on in there.
And a lot of the strokes or the splashes are kind of sideways, especially with that yellow.
Yeah, the diagonal, impulse that's there, I think, is really what gives it that sense of active movement. And then there's that little narrower yellow spiral in the middle.
Oh,
Which
you
is
see that
kind of,
too? Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of nice. It's kind of very subtle, but it's there, and it says, "Come on in." It's kind of like just pulling my vision in to that spot.
So I have to believe in with this, when he was doing it, he didn't have expectations, because how could you?
Exactly. Exactly. You can't like picture in your mind what this is going to look like when it's done.
Yeah, because you're splashing paint I really don't know where that paint's going to go. Um, Interesting when you look at that kind of work. And you know what? Yeah, I'm looking at it through a different lens now. I see it as artistic, and there's feeling and emotion coming from it, and certainly the colors he used. But it's not it's not like the colors are working together, because what has he got there? Red, black, yellow, essentially, and some colors in the background. So it's almost as if he's using the color for dramatic purpose. It's not essentially, make the colors work well together.
I absolutely agree. Right. Yeah, and there's some more subtle parts of it, but there's also some white in there. So the white and the black are really high contrast with each other, and so are the red and the yellow. So when you said that word dramatic, that really resonated with me. That's a very dramatic image.
As most of
High
his work,
energy,
if they
high
didn't,
intensity.
yeah, yeah. I mean, some of them were like dots of color, splashes of color, and it didn't have um, that intensity going on there. But I see it in a different way. Like back in the day, if I saw that, I'd be looking at it saying, "Well, what the hell is that?" Like
Exactly. And there was
you got paid
a
for
lot of
that?
skepticism.
Yeah.
Exactly. A lot of skepticism about what in the world that was. But I mean, that this is kind of following on to what I want to really encourage our viewers to kind of take to heart. And that is that if you're going to take your creativity out for a trial run, what I really hope you can do is just invite yourself not to create expectations about the result. Don't predefine what's going to happen or what must happen if you can do creativity in a successful way, because you're setting yourself up for disappointment, especially if you get too detailed and too kind of rigid about what that expectation has to be. So the first expectation I would kick out the door and slam the door behind it quickly is that this will become art, because that can really douse your creative spark. What? I have to live up to that? Oh no. So every mark you put down, well, is that making it art or is that not making it art?
Mm,
This is my sort of my underlying anxiety speaking of. Maybe you have more confidence than I did, but I think a lot of people, when they're sort of venturing into an area that they're not terribly familiar with, they do have a little bit of anxiety because it's an unfamiliar experience. So the
mm,
expectation that this is going to be an unfamiliar experience, what can I do to make it fun? So bring
mm.
some energy of play and some energy of curiosity to what you're doing, which would be going to, I wonder what would happen if I used red on top of yellow. I wonder what would happen if I threw some white splatters in on top of that. So that's a part of it, is the expectations about what will happen are pretty open-ended. And here's the bonus there. You can throw away anything you don't like when it's done. There is no law that says you must keep every effort your human hands have ever, used line, shape, and color to create. Part of it is you responding to what happened on the page or with that lump of clay or with that pie recipe that you decided to add some different, kind of flavors to. You ever tried a drop of like peppermint in the cherry
Mm,
pie filling?
mm.
I never have. I don't know that I would like it, but that's a part of being creative, is saying, well, I'm going to try this and see if I like it. And then if you like it, that's telling you about you.
Well, I also see this as when we do things, if it doesn't hit our mark, that was a waste. Yeah, I just wasted. I wasted that canvas. I wasted that page, that paint, my time. I'm frustrated. All of that, but it wasn't a waste, right?
No, no, hardly that. Because the more you know what you like and what you don't like, the more you know what is the essence of you. Yeah, they say we're all unique, but what that uniqueness is composed of is the various things that either excite us or bore us or leave us indifferent or make us feel angry, like there's something unjust happening. Whatever your feeling response is to anything is telling you what you value, what your heart holds dear. And that's the essence of who you are. That makes us all human.
Mm.
And also at the same time, I believe it makes us a gift to the rest of humanity, because what we value is very likely something that other humans might find appealing or interesting or also of value. And when we discover that about each other, we discover that we're in harmony, not just within ourselves, but with others in our community. And that creates lasting and substantial connection with one another, which is really one of those essentials to life.
I regret when I was younger and very much into being creative with, as I shared cartoons and things like that. I regret that I did it with expectation and with allowing judgment. Nobody ever said my stuff was bad. And looking back, I was thinking it was actually damn good. I'm going to say that. But then I wasn't thinking of that because I was a perfectionist, and I always wanted whatever I did to be seen by others to get approval. That's why I did it.
That's right. That's right. And there's nothing wrong with wanting that, because getting approval is actually a pretty basic way of getting the feeling of being connected.
Well, I also want to bridge that word approval. Um, a better description would be recognition.
Yes, appreciation.
Mm, yeah.
Something along that line. But kind of the underlying theme there is being connected and accepted.
Yeah. Instead of looking at it as I'm the one who matters, I'm the
Right.
one that should
Right.
say, that's good. Yeah. Don't change it. You're good with that. Let's do another one or a different one or whatever it might be.
Well, and then the bonus from having it be that way is that when someone else appreciates something that you've done for you, then you have connection to your authentic self, not to a persona that you've created in the hopes of of connection or acceptance.
Okay.
Because
That's a big
there's
thing right there.
there's the rub right there. Yes.
Yes. And I heard recently, and I want to throw this to you, and this is in the world of energy. It's been said that happy and love are some of the highest vibrations energetically you can find. The lowest one is shame. And of course, you have sadness and guilt down there too.
Yep.
Somebody said to me, I don't think that's it. They said, I think authenticity is the highest vibration. And I thought about that. I'm kind of buying that one, because when you are your true, authentic self, the love and the happy elevate.
I think that's absolutely true. And the love and the happy is genuinely for who you are, not for who you've created to please someone else.
Right. Yes,
So you,
exactly.
so the you that you are is really the one that's getting the love.
I just looked at the time. Now, so we had somebody send in a picture. Should we get to that?
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Okay. Um, this is, and we're onto something there with the authenticity. Maybe I'll circle back, but okay, this is what I got. And this is from Hillary, who heard us say, send in your picture, kind of your creation, whatever it might be. I printed it out there. I don't know the medium. I think it might be maybe pastel or oil crayon. I'm not sure.
Yeah, or maybe paint could be maybe sort of a thick paint
Hmm.
as opposed to watercolor. Um, so
What's
what
coming
did
up?
what did you notice when you first looked at it, when you first kind of, blew it up big enough to kind of print and saw it coming off the printer?
Looks simple, but it's really not in technique because of the the detail on the flowers with the highlights, and I don't want to call it shading, but just the detail to
Yeah,
shades.
yeah, it is a little shading. So I'm kind of responding to it. Let's see, hold it back a little further so we can
Oh,
see the
here I am
base
holding
of
it close so you can.
what I want to see is the whole thing. I want to see the white around the whole edge. So I'm
Oh,
seeing the whole black shape. That's another kind of expectation thing when you're working on something. You want to take in the whole area that you're working with. And this artist really did that. She created this flower there, and I'm not sure what she did first, but she wanted that flower, that stem and blossom to have some context. And choosing that dark tone to put around and behind it is really helping those colors to pop and helping that flower kind of zoom out of that space and toward us. And the other
mm,
thing that I'm feeling when I see it is how delicately those flower petals are being held by the little green parts of the plant that probably made up the bud cover before it bloomed, and how they kind of emerge and then the petals themselves expand and increase and come up out of it. So looks to me like it's in the process of blooming, and like
mm.
that plant is sheltering that blossom until it is really ready to come into full bloom.
I'm with you there, and it looks like it's got potential. It's ready to hello world. Here I am.
Exactly,
Um,
ready to
mm.
burst.
And you know what too? I just noticed this. Not a black background.
Is it dark blue?
Well, there could be some black in there, but I think it's mostly dark blue and some lighter blue around it. She could have just made it dark, a little bit of contrast, but she it seems like she intentionally wanted it to have a little bit of light to it,
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
out of coming out of the darkness.
I like that. I like that. Yes.
It looks like it's coming out of the darkness and it's ready. It's finally ready to shine.
So I might, if I were going to choose a title for it or a theme to kind of talk about it or identify with, I might say emerging.
Mm, yeah, I'm with that.
And I
Totally.
like also, I like how there's a rough edge around,
Yeah.
that's defining the darker area, that it's not exactly straight and
Right.
exactly at right angles, that it's just kind of spontaneously, cropped in ways that also contribute to the sense of growth, a dynamic feeling, movement.
Mm.
Maybe it's pulling back while a flower is coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You know
feel.
what? Maybe even pre-sunrise, you could see where when the sun's just about to come up, you see a little bit of lightning, around.
Yeah,
It almost kind of looks that way.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I can see that.
It's funny though when
I
you
can
look at
see
something
it.
like that. Yeah, initial thought may be, well, that's pretty simple. So it's flour, Uh, but there's way more going on there. Even the detail around the
Right.
flower
Of
itself.
each petal, yeah, how
Yeah,
each petal is defined, and you can see that they have volume, that they have curve,
yeah,
and they're
yeah.
catching light from the top, and there's some shadow in the
Yes.
underside.
There, it almost looks like that's there.
Oh, you're right. Yep,
It's
it's
like
reflecting. It's
it,
reflecting a little bit of the environment. Yeah.
it almost looks like it's that's holding it all together. Wow. This is so cool. Like I wasn't even like I just let me just press print and see what we got here. Oh, it's a flower. But when you really start looking at it, there's so much more going on there, and we'll never know what Hillary was thinking when she did that. But we have some, I think, pretty solid assumptions there based on the technique.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
also, even if what we were picking up on it was nothing like what Hillary was intending to put into it, I so appreciate her willingness to share it with us,
Seriously.
because there's always a chance that we're going to bring our stories to what we look at that might not be related to the artist's stories. and yet they don't cancel each other out. And that's another place where expectations can get in the way.
Nobody's wrong here.
Nobody's wrong here.
Nobody's
That's
wrong.
exactly right.
If you ever want to send something to us, we'd love to take a look at it. InstantFeedbackSteve@gmail.com. And if somebody wants to explore art therapy deeper with you, and maybe they're challenged by expectations with their creativity, maybe they're feeling it, they want to be creative, or maybe they're in the creative world and that stuff's getting in the way, how do they find you?
They can look at my website, Robertson Art Therapy LLC, all that strung together, no punctuation.com, or brobertson.atr@gmail.com. Love to hear from you. Questions, comments, things you're wondering about, anything at all.
A painting I did a long time ago, like in high school, is in a storage shed right now. I'm thinking if I get a chance, maybe I would love you to analyze it. And there's a story behind it too.
Well,
Yeah.
I kind of like the word respond to it more than analyze it.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Because it's kind of an analysis of me and how I respond to it more than the art itself.
And in the men's group I'm in, when somebody has a thought, a feeling, a challenge, we call it, well, we're going to inspect that person. And I've said, I'm never using that word. I prefer that none of us do. It's just a very clinical, it's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah, I kind of get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not quite the connection that you want to feel.
No, doesn't foster openness either. Because if I'm going to say something and you're going to inspect me, I'm not telling you. I don't want to hear it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would much rather hear something like, we're going to open to this person.
Yeah. Write that one down. Barbara, thank you so much for today, and we'll talk soon, okay?
Always a pleasure. Thanks.
Likewise.
Steve.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.